They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
Blue wave, we rise to save the day. Only me, only you can let our hearts sail away on a blue wave.
That was Kamala Harris ridiculing Donald Trump at the debate where she kicked his ass.
She wasn't ridiculing him. He was ridiculing himself. She wasn't doing anything. She was
Right.
just sitting there kind of like,
okay. Now listen, Anita, I'm just going to tell you, if you watch this thing and if you can see the expressions on her face, she absolutely was fucking ridiculing him. So yeah, for anybody that was actually able to watch it and see her expressions, that was absolutely, she owned his ass just with a look and some laughter.
Yeah.
So anyway, but now welcome everybody to episode 22 of TruBlu Politics Podcast with Karen and Anita. And today we have our very, very special guest, and celebrity caller of the Stephanie Miller Show, the hilarious Louise Gay.
yay.
And otherwise known as Kevin Taylor. Welcome, Kevin.
Well, hello.
Kevin. Oh, say it again. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
I didn't know I was going to ask, can I even say that?
Yes.
Because
is it copyrighted?
Right. Well, earlier today, we learned that this show is a spinoff of the Stephanie Miller Show. So I think I can say that.
I think you can.
I think you can too.
So I'll say it again. Well, hello.
Well, hello.
And then I guess my other question out of the gate is, are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Oh, of course. Please do. Please do. We're not worrying about any licenses here.
No.
Okay, good, because I do have a little bit of a potty mouth.
Oh, good.
Well, you have potty mouths too, so
Even better.
You're in the right place.
Yes, we only invite potty mouths.
That's true. If you're not a potty mouth,
My mind has a summer home in the gutter, and my mouth has every morning. Who said that? Every morning I wake up and I brush my teeth and I sharpen my tongue. And I thought that's brilliant.
It. That is you. That is our beloved.
Sometimes, you have to be potty mouth. I've become more and more of a potty mouth in the past 8 years because I just
since 2016.
Yeah, exactly. It just
one of the funniest signs that I saw, this little girl at one of the protests, the early protests of the Trump regime, and it said something like, Donald Trump made my mommy swear.
It's true. It's true.
And I'm like, yep, that is absolutely on point. Because
it's hard not. Sometimes it's all you can do because it's so frustrating and just that we're being gaslit all the time
and there's because you know what you're going to say, and because you will have that little bit of a filter of, oh, should I say this? But when you actually do get it out, it just feels so good.
Yeah. Oh, you know what felt good? The way Kamala Harris handled Donald Trump during the debate. It was so cathartic for me. The things she said, I was like, she just punching him in the nose and punching him in the nose. And
spanking his ass.
He probably would like that. But, but the thing about it is, and I was telling Karen, I love Joe Biden. We all love Joe Biden, but he could not have done what she did the other night, Tuesday night. He just couldn't have done that. Just does. He's not as quick on his feet, but also just because he's always showing that kind of deference and decorum, and he's from a bygone time, right?
Well, and the thing of it is, I don't think that she was not showing decorum.
No, that's true.
But this is the thing, he doesn't deserve any fucking deference.
No,
none of these people, they're not serious. He is the most vulgar, traitorous piece of shit motherfucker, and so you know what, he does not deserve any kind of decorum or respect from anybody. That is.
Here's the thing: he lies
person.
about he lies so much that the moderators, they cannot, if they were to actually fact check him the way he should be fact checked, they would be interrupting all the time. They would become part of the debate. So it's really not, it's just he uses that to his advantage, that he can sit there and lie like that. And even if they do fact check him on some of the really just crazy shit he says that are libelous, then look, he whines like a little bitch, and all his followers do the same thing. They just can't handle it.
Yeah, and I think you touch on a very a good point, that President Biden is from a time gone by in American politics, where he used to be able to work across the aisle and work with Republicans on certain issues and come to a middle ground and find solutions for our problems, everyday problems. And Donald Trump changed that game. And Republicans, unfortunately, had to fall in line unless you were the Liz Cheneys or the Adam Kinzingers. And everyone fell in line, so you can no longer reach across the aisle. And we needed a new way of dealing with this new Republican Party. And I think Kamala is the perfect answer. And I think Frangela had said, the black mama, come in and black mama Trump, and show him, with still, like you said, Karen, maintaining that decorum, maintaining presidentiality, if that's a word.
Dignity.
But dignity and everything that you expect. Like Hillary Clinton would never have thought that she had to treat Donald that way, until, like, she had said after the second debate when he was stalking her, oh, I wish I could have just, said, will you back up off me or say something? But, like, she was so presidential and didn't. And now I think Kamala is learning from that and saying, okay, we're gonna treat you still with dignity and decorum, but we're gonna treat you the way you need to be treated.
Absolutely. And it was, for me, it was like she handled him. I mean, and so she took into account how he stalked Hillary Clinton, how he got into her space. He invaded her space. He intruded upon her during that debate. And so that boss move, that power move that she made at the very beginning, going right to him in his space, making him look at her and introduce herself so that he heard her say, my name is Kamala Harris. Okay, because bitch, you haven't been saying my name right. Okay, and I thought that was really good too.
You know what? You bring up a good point, because I've thought about this a lot. And you know how people said that she seemed nervous in the beginning? I think it was all part of the plan, because you could tell by the way that boss move, walking across the stage and forcing him to shake her hand and introducing herself, she knew exactly what she was doing. She let him get comfortable, right? And then she set the trap.
Yep.
That's what I think she did, because it was just beautifully, beautifully done.
Yeah, it started off where I think that definitely was a boss move, going in there and shaking hands like previous debates you do, and setting the stage for, okay, this is how it's going to be. This is a presidential debate, and there are people who didn't watch the RNC, or there are people who didn't watch the DNC, and now both of those subsets are watching this.
That's right.
And we're going to see, this debate and answer the questions. And then, she said, you're going to hear a lot of lies. You're going to hear the same old tired playbook. And then she went in for the kill with the 81 million people fired your ass.
Yeah.
And oh my God, when she said that, I'm like, please let this be the first soundbite that Stephanie plays when she starts the show. And it was, because I'm like, oh, it was so good. That was just the thorn in the side of
she keeps
his pride.
Oh, that killed him. He keeps saying, I got the most votes than any other sitting president. Yeah, but you got the most votes against you than any other sitting president.
And that's the part he forgets.
Yeah.
And that's the part that the media helps everybody else to forget. You know what I mean? Because they absolutely do not do their job. And when they even were talking about how, he has been in the most presidential debates, those weren't fucking debates. He has never been in a situation where he was debating the issues, debating anybody. It was literally throwing.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
especially the Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit flinging contest.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they were talking about hand size. Okay. And
oh my God. I mean, seriously, like,
And see, that was Marco Rubio's attempt to try it, because so Trump came out and he was, with his name calling and, flinging shit. And so that was Marco Rubio's attempt at trying to get like down in the dirty. But, when you wrestle with pigs, you both get mugged.
Yeah, exactly.
Trump loves it. So
it
was a failed attempt. He should have done what Kamala did.
What Kamala did was she came out sparkling clean, and she didn't, he looked, I mean, he looked crazy. He looked like an old crazy man.
Right. And usually, honestly, like, let's be real. I mean, we all know that if Donald Trump gets covered in mud, shit, or piss, he's been paying for it.
Probably likes it. Yeah, it's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But she did such a masterful job. And some of the parts I liked, I loved. My favorite parts were when she said, I've talked to world leaders and they are laughing at him. Mm-hmm. Then she said, I have talked to military leaders, some of whom worked for him, and they say you are a disgrace. She didn't say she was saying it. She said they were saying it. World leaders are laughing at you. You are a disgrace. They say you are a disgrace. It was just so masterfully done, where she wasn't the one. She was saying what other people are saying about him. And when she said, it was oh my God, it felt so cathartic for her to say that, because he is a disgrace. He's an embarrassment.
It was masterfully done, because she not only was saying what the world leaders were saying, this was the first time probably that a lot of the MAGA people tuning in to see the debate, first time that they heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you.
She was not only, sticking him in the side with nobody respects you, you're a disgrace on the world stage and people laugh at you, which we know he hates.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, yes.
Also just and letting everyone be able to hear that for the first time.
Yeah,
well, MAGA people.
No,
because he always says they're laughing at us. He always says they're laughing at us. No, they're laughing at you.
Yep.
Okay.
And if they're laughing at us, it's because we elected you, and you're a joke, and you're a disgrace.
Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
I love that. That's another part I loved.
Mm-hmm.
He will eat you for lunch, because he did. Okay, we all know that. Look at how easily she manipulated him. Mm-hmm. Do you want a person that's that easy? I think about Hillary Clinton saying he could be baited by a tweet. Mm-hmm. Do you want a leader that can be baited by a tweet? He is so easy to manipulate. That's why they all own him. They love him, because he's easily manipulated. She said that, manipulated by flattery and favors.
And then his argument against what she was saying was to talk about his special relationship and love for Viktor Orban.
He's a strong man. Yeah. He said it like it's a good thing.
Yeah. And look, let's not forget, and we all know this, and unless you've been under a fucking rock, he's still has classified documents that he is likely shown to God knows who. We've already seen he divulged classified information to Russians in the Oval Office. That was his first thing. and then all along had closed door meetings with
Putin.
Vladimir Putin in Helsinki, came out and sided with Vladimir Putin's word against our intelligence agencies. You know, and then talking about these quote unquote strongmen as you know, being afraid of him but also like loving him so much and like, you know, sending him love letters, you know.
Yeah, they're not afraid of him. He's a joke.
Yes.
Yeah, and remember the reports of him going into in-person meetings with Vladimir Putin and just having the Russian interpreter and not the American interpreter as well, who would also know what was being said and would be able to, you know, back up any, you know, what was he doing?
Yeah, there were no
those
transcripts.
conversations.
Right.
I'd love to be the fly on the wall in those.
Oh my God. Well, he talks about this, how much. Oh, Putin talked about Ukraine. He talked about it a lot. That was the apple of his eye, Ukraine. But, you know, and I said, yeah, he wants it. And remember, he said, I told them, what did he say? It was so ridiculous. I said, don't do that, Putin. And he goes, what did he say? Karen, do you remember?
He said, no way.
No way. Way.
Oh, like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, and he said way, and I was like, no way, and it was like, oh way.
Like, I mean, come on.
My 8th grader doesn't even talk like that. Like, come on.
I know, please. First of all, that never happened. And if it did happen, he was pulling his, you know, he was manipulating him. Putin manipulated him all the time.
And there's like one clip after another of Vladimir Putin sitting there with Donald Trump and talking about body language too.
Oh my God, I know.
You know, I mean, it is so obviously who's
in charge.
Yes. Who's the the top
alpha?
Who's the top in that situation?
Trump is a total bottom.
Oh, for sure.
And not to
except for Lindsay. Yeah.
You know, we love that. We love them. But the thing is, okay, now I'm distracted.
Now we're distracted. We're getting into.
I got a point. I swear.
Listen, I mean, typically we're all bottoms, okay?
Yeah. So. But I mean, it goes to show how I think I remember my point kind of. But it just goes to show that we can't have somebody in charge of. I mean, think of all the presidents we've had in American history, like you know, flawed men, but strong like leaders. Not all of them, but most of them. And we can't have somebody, the commander in chief, leading this great nation of ours who can be, like you said, baited with a tweet or everybody knows how to play him like
flattery.
Yes. Just flatter him and he will roll over for you.
The Saudis figured that out real quick. When he went to Saudi Arabia, which was his first visit, which usually is reserved for like one of our closest allies like Canada or Britain or something, or Mexico or something like that. But he went to Saudi Arabia and they had his picture on the buildings. Remember the orb? They made a big deal about him. And of course, they got a huge arms deal out of that. And who knows what else they got.
And then in contradiction to that, when he went to England and they had the big balloon of him as a diaper baby. Which was more appropriate.
Yeah. He insisted on a state visit with like meeting with the Queen. That's why he got that.
Yeah.
And it was a total embarrassment.
Yeah. Remember how he made her wait? He was late.
Yep. And then he walked in front of her.
He walked in front of her.
Where she couldn't even see her. She's like peeking out from behind him.
Yeah. I don't know. See, I love the history of the British monarchy and learning about it, but then I'm also a true American where I'm glad that we are not under them. So I still think that was shitty of him to do, and you don't break tradition like that.
Well,
no, you still have
to,
right. I mean, you have to respect the customs and the culture of the host country
of every country.
Well, he has no class. Okay, he just has no class. He brought his whole family with him, and they went there. Remember, and they were walking around like a bunch of ugly Americans,
Mhm.
and they were getting booed. Do you remember that? When Jared and Ivanka were booed, they were crossing the street. They brought everybody,
Mhm.
the whole bunch. It was
Yeah,
just
hey,
so
now I have
embarrassing.
to. Him disparaging the queen like that is like the modern day vomiting on
Oh, the Japanese.
on the Japanese. Was it the prime minister?
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, that's so funny that you said that. Yeah, that was so, oh my God, that was so embarrassing. And you know what? He didn't do that on purpose. It wasn't
Of
like,
course, that's the difference.
he had a virus or something. And, I felt kind of bad for him actually.
Mhm.
But
Well, what
yeah.
about the part of the debate where they bring up JD Vance and he goes, I never talk to JD.
Oh, yeah. I don't talk to him because JD Vance has said
I don't know her.
Yeah. JD
Vance, the coffee
he's a coffee boy. Oh my God. And he said JD Vance said you would veto an abortion ban. By the way, that's a question he did not answer. Okay.
He did not.
Whether he would sign it because he can't. He is trying to walk that line because when he said the 6-week a ban in Florida they were voting on, right? Or that they're voting to overturn and make it a 15-week. He said, 6 weeks is too short a time. He's trying to play both sides. But then, of course, you get the backlash, right?
Right.
From the evangelicals who are very pissed off.
Yeah.
And so he said he would support the 6-week ban. So then, and he cannot answer. He cannot say he would veto an abortion ban now because he would piss off too many of the evangelicals. He's in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
Same as the question he wouldn't answer about Ukraine.
Right.
Ukraine, exactly. Right. There's another one. He couldn't say he wanted Ukraine to win. Yeah.
That's the line he has to walk that tight line so that he can gain as much support as he can from both sides of an issue.
Right.
On Ukraine, he does not. Let me just say this. For Ukraine, he is very pro-Russia. He is
absolutely.
He does not want, because Russia's backing him, that they want him to win. And
Putin just
Putin said he was supporting Kamala.
No way.
No,
did you hear though? He even said, and I think he's serious about it. No, he knows he's not.
Yeah. No, he wouldn't answer the question about Ukraine. It would answer it as, I want the war over. Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And just like she said, just like Kamala said, he would just want to give up. He would not want to support Ukraine.
That's why it would be over in one day.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why, oh my God. And I mean, seriously,
so dangerous. He is, people, it's not, he's not dangerous like because he's this big tough guy who would take all these chances. He's dangerous because he's an idiot.
He's an idiot and he would give the wrong people everything they wanted. Yep. And exactly right. He would do, how he's always like, I would do it on day one, or, when he came in the last time, I'm going to do it on day one. And, for things like, repealing and replacing.
No, he said 2 weeks. He said 2 weeks.
2 weeks. For Obamacare?
Yeah, the healthcare plan.
Yeah. And then
but he's
infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
But I thought it was good in the debate when they brought up the fact that it's been 9 years.
It's been 9 years. Yeah, he still doesn't. And by the way, they proposed a healthcare plan. They had a healthcare plan. It was a shitty plan. It would have thrown 30 million people off of their healthcare plans.
Right.
And so that was his plan. Okay, he doesn't remember when he said it would be easy. He's going to give everybody healthcare. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best ever, right? Mm-hmm. And then when he gets in office, healthcare is hard.
Mm-hmm. Right. And now he's got concepts.
He's got a concept.
Hard, you guys.
I know. I mean, seriously, concepts.
I had to put on my big boy pants.
Right. And no shit. And that's the other thing too. It's like he has no understanding of what the job entails, even though he's already been in there for 4 years. He didn't learn anything. He never had to do the job. He never
No.
He didn't do jack shit. What? So Paul Ryan and all of the asshole Republicans did exactly what they had been threatening to do all along, which was to give massive tax breaks to their buddies, their wealthy buddies, and
the billionaires, multinational corporations.
Exactly.
And that's exactly right. He is an empty vessel. He is a Trojan horse. So therefore, I mean, that's why Project 2025, that's why Trump is perfect for that. Because he will do, just like he folded on the abortion thing. He will do whatever they want him to do. There will definitely be a national abortion ban. And then it'll be contraception. And then it'll be gay marriage.
Right.
It'll be
and you know, and Anita, you and I had talked about this and just kind of in the debate too. And I mean, listen, hands down, Kamala Harris did, you know, she won that. It was an amazing job. But one thing that Anita and I have been talking about is the fact that Donald Trump keeps bringing up the governor of Virginia, the former governor of Virginia, Northam.
No, West Virginia.
Oh, West.
Oh, he said West Virginia, which is that's
He
hilarious.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did in the debate, but what he meant was
it was a baby.
if I could look into Donald Trump's heart, you know, because Kellyanne Conway told me that I need to look into his heart, and so what he really meant was the former governor of Virginia. So anyway,
his heart is 3 sizes too small.
Yeah,
it's Ralph Northam who was talking about a couple who had a baby that was going to die. It was not viable. It was terminal. Right. And they had to make a decision that they wouldn't take any extraordinary measures to keep the baby alive because it was going to die. And they could comfort it as it took its last breath. Such a horrible situation. And now it's being used like this.
Yes. And so in that moment, I would have loved it if, you know,
or at some
point, or at some point you say something to the effect, what you are referring to, Mr. Trump, is a
terrible
situation where there is a couple and they have a baby born with severe anomalies and defects that is going to die in the matter of a few hours, and they have a serious conversation with their physician as to the best course to take to alleviate the pain and suffering of that baby. How dare you use that and take that situation and turn and refer to it as parents executing, babies being executed. How dare you? How disgraceful, how disgusting, and how you can say that to millions of Americans and thousands of American couples that have had to go through that excruciating experience. How dare you?
Well, this is what they do.
You owe them an apology.
Well, they do that, like this little Haitian boy, this little boy that was killed in that tragic car accident by a Haitian immigrant, was here illegally, and the father had to beg them to stop using him and saying he was murdered by a Haitian.
Right.
I mean, they don't care.
No, what they do is they take tragic situations and they think to themselves, how can we make this, fit our narrative? And it really bothers me. And Secretary Buttigieg has brought up on Fox News several times why we can't have 6 weeks or 15 weeks or whatever weeks when they say, oh, you want to have, in the 3rd trimester. And it's like, we don't want abortions in the 3rd trimester, but what we need is the ability to perform healthcare, procedures for
the full 9 months.
In the in the unfortunate and rare occasion that happens. And so I really hate when with their talking points and it's fear mongering to people. But I have 2 friends, very like my best friends. They were pregnant with twins, and they wanted these. They were lesbian couples, so infertile, IVF, and all that, artificial insemination. That's what I was going with. But so they wanted this. They wanted this pregnancy. They wanted these babies. It was a boy and a girl. They were born at 23 weeks gestation, and the boy, his name is Riley, survived for 4 hours. He lived for 4 hours. They said he's not going to make it. But their daughter, Addison, she has a chance. But they did have that conversation. They did, it is our medical recommendations, what we think based on the science of what's going to happen. And they said, no, let's give her the chance. And she's getting ready to turn 17 years old. She's
Wow.
got, severe CP. She's,
Mhm.
nonverbal. She's in a wheelchair, but she is the sweetest little girl, my little niece, and I adore her. And I'm so thankful that the government was not involved in their decision.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so it's cases like this, or like situations like this, where it's like we can't have a black and white law that decides
Yeah.
each case by case.
Right.
That's why
We need to have the
doctors,
option.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
women
I
and the
mean,
doctors, and because when they abortions don't happen in the 8th or 9th trimester. I mean the third trimester, really,
Mhm.
unless there's something goes drastically wrong. And
absolutely.
they're not even legal, but they have to be able to do them, perform them. They can perform them legally if the doctor
Mhm.
advises that for them to get an abortion to save
It's
their
medically
lives.
necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if they do not have that option available to them, because the doctor is afraid of being criminally convicted because they are in a state, and if Donald
Oh,
Trump
you get
and the
99 years here.
Republicans,
Yep,
if
in Texas.
yeah, if Donald Trump and the Republicans have their way, it will be a national ban on abortions. I don't care what he tries to say. That is absolutely what the Republican agenda, in their kowtowing and caving into these extremist pro-life individuals who have been, I mean, this is not something that just came up. They have been trying
No.
to do this in this country for decades, and one state at a time, one ruling at a time. And now they finally,
Well, they've been chipping away at it. They have been
chip-
chipping away.
Yes, they have
Yeah.
been chipping away
Here
at
in
it,
Texas
and
for
now-
sure. Yeah.
Yes, and so now, here we are. And
Mhm.
if we think based off of that history, if anybody out there listening to this, or when you're talking, anybody listening to this, when you're talking to your friends and family, okay, if they say that they're going to do a national ban, even if Donald Trump comes out and says, oh, no, he's not in favor of it, they will absolutely fucking do that.
And he will roll over.
And he will
Like
he will
Anita
sign it.
said,
Yep.
Just like Anita said, he is a Trojan horse, and
Mhm.
he's filled with all of these Republican men inside of him, which makes him a very good bottom.
Yeah.
I will tell you that. And he will just, pass their agenda. And let's not forget it. Their agenda is controlling these, sluts who will not keep their legs
Mm-mm.
closed, and they're out there killing their babies because they're just whores.
Yep.
It's Christian nationalism is what it is. That's what they want to, that's what Project 2025 is.
Mhm.
And if they don't sign a national abortion ban, they will use the Comstock Act to enforce, basically an national abortion ban, because they will make it illegal to send any kind of abortion, anything that you would need for surgery, any kind of surgical equipment to perform abortions,
Mhm.
and they will make that illegal. Oh, by the way, Project 2025 also wants to ban porn and criminally charge people who make porn. I mean, it's just.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I would have to say no to that, because
No, a lot of people would say no to that.
if anything proves that point, remember when we would have cell phones when they first came out, and they started like getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and then we got smartphones, and then once we could get porn on our phones, the screens kept getting bigger and bigger.
That's what it was. That's why they did it.
Sure.
We need bigger screens for the porn. Come on, guys.
Sure.
Can't see what's going on here. It's a little bitty screen.
This episode of TruBlu Politics is brought to you by Night Sky Woodworks, featuring gorgeous products like cutting boards, cheese and charcuterie boards, and beautiful tea light holders, all finely handcrafted in their Chicago, Illinois wood shop. All of which have eye-catching designs and make the perfect complementary piece for any kitchen or living room. If you use TruBlu, that's TRUBLU, at checkout on their Etsy shop, you get 10% off any order, which is a pretty great deal if you ask me. So go check out their in-stock designs today or message your custom order request on their Etsy shop today by visiting etsy.com/shop/Night Sky Woodworks. That's etsy.com/shop/NITESKYE Woodworks and use TruBlu at checkout for 10% off. We couldn't do this without our loyal listeners and love hearing from you, so please give us some stars and a review if you're so inclined wherever you get this podcast. TruBlu Politics is sponsored by our wonderful TruBlu crew of listeners and our supporters on Patreon. As a small startup podcast, our Patreon members help us pay the bills to keep our podcast running and also allow us to keep investing in equipment upgrades for even better quality content in the future. When you sign up as a monthly TruBlu crew member at even just $5, you instantly unlock our private TruBlu pod chat and full episodes a day earlier than everyone else without ads in the middle. Upwards from there, we've made even more perks available, like having your name shouted out at the end of our show and a personal Zoom call with me and Anita to discuss ways to overthrow the GOP. If you would like to become a Patreon subscriber at any level, go to patreon.com/TruBlu Politics Podcast. That's patreon.com/TruBlu Politics Podcast. And as always, thank you for listening and for all of your love and support.
Christian nationalism is on the rise, and people are thirsty for it. They are hungry for this. And we are the Christian Taliban. And we will not stop until The Handmaid's Tale is a reality. And even worse than that.
We need total dictator Trump. I seriously, and there's no argument against it. Oh, the Constitution says this. It's like the Constitution is invalid.
Donald Trump carries the prophetic seal of the calling of God. If you are anointed by Yahweh for a specific plan and purpose, you are a Messiah.
Men make stronger leaders. Men are just better. Men are awesome. I am a firm believer in the patriarchy. I'm a misogynist. You could definitely claim that. You could say I'm a sexist. Absolutely.
It's not enough to be against blue-haired feminism. You got to be against women getting educated. Okay? Or else, what are we really trying to achieve here? 1999? We want to go back to the Middle Ages.
See the whole everything going on with Roe, for example, right now, and all the left, becoming completely uncorked, losing their minds. They're saying they're coming after your gay marriage next. They're coming after your birth control after that and everything else. Well, you know what? Yeah. Absolutely.
There was this article from The Atlantic where it's like, well, Alito is on a mission to roll back the past 100 years of rights that were given to women. Yes, that is what we're doing. And it's only going to get worse for you.
They care so much about everybody voting in democracy, and it's like if you went back to the founding, and the founding fathers would have said something to the effect of like, yeah, women and probably feminine men shouldn't be allowed to vote because then their chaotic nature would manifest throughout society.
That's right. I think our government should be run 100% by Christians. No Hindus allowed, no Muslims allowed. It says, let the women learn in silence with all subjection, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man. So how is it that Christian women should be voting?
America is a white and Christian nation, and this should not be controversial.
Joe Biden's a disgrace to this country.
He's a disgrace, and so are all the left and the rhinos, the globalists.
They Joe Mall.
Yeah.
Joe Mall.
I agree with you on that.
America was built by and for the white Christian people of this nation.
The Bible says, obey them that have the rule over you. So women, to make your husband's job easier, just obey what he says. When he tells you to do something, just do it.
Men are dumber than men. Women should be subservient to men. Women have no place in male activities. Women have no place in partaking in the workforce. Women have no place in partaking in politics. Women have no place outside of the home. The home is a virtuous place for women. Women should be happy when they are in the home. Women should be grateful when a man puts a roof over her head.
If you're a man and your wife has pants, throw them away. I don't want her to be ever publicly being in public wearing pants.
My goal is to break American democracy.
Here would be my solution. Elect a dictator, suspend the laws, dismiss the legislature, and the dictator uses the money to raise an army that is personally loyal to him.
The greatest example of love is to kill those traitors so others learn never to do it.
We need to hold people for treason, start having some public hearings, and start executing people who are found guilty for their treasonous acts against the Constitution of the United States of America, just like they did back in 1776.
If for any reason the President of the United States feels that it's not getting done the way it should, and decides to put out the tweet that says, "My fellow Americans, it's time to take up arms against these," you are all in under an hour.
And today, we're going rhino hunting. Join the MAGA crew. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire until we save our country.
We need to start to roll things back in order to begin to restore order. And yes, that might look like rolling back the rights of women over the past 100 years. That's probably going to look exactly like that, but that is what is needed to be done.
We need to be the party of nationalism, and I'm a Christian and I say it proudly. We should be Christian nationalists.
We need to go back to burning women alive more. We stopped doing that, and then everything went out of control.
There's something next on the horizon, because gay marriage is going to be going away. Contraceptives are going to be going away, and many other things are going to be going away, because there is a true rise of Christian nationalism in this country.
We will then collect the power needed to silence, destroy, and imprison our political opposition.
So this country is so gay. I hate this country. I hate this country. I hate this country.
If you love your country and freedom, vote is the final.
Yeah, you know, it's like this is what happened in Iran. Remember the whole Sharia law scare? Remember, they're going to put in Sharia law.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're talking about. That Christian nationalism bullshit.
Yeah.
It's Sharia law, but their beliefs, not.
Yeah, but it's Christian Sharia law.
I had never seen that. I'm like still processing a lot of what was it? That's scary.
It's very scary.
That is not a world that I want to live in.
Mm-mm.
I watch the DNC, watch the ads that Kamala puts out, watch her talking to people, and that is the world I want to live in.
Right.
The world
Absolutely.
of hope and love and joy. Because I'll tell you what, with religious beliefs, everybody can have their own beliefs, and that's fine. But you know what I know to be a fact is we are all floating around through space on a giant rock.
Yeah.
We are all in this together. And let's just try not to be assholes to each other. And we can't control the people. And the thing that's sad is, as they were talking about women being subservient to men, yes, that's what they believe. I grew up in a very religious family. And I belong to a Baptist church, and Baptists, the women are not allowed to wear pants. They have to wear skirts, dresses, past the knee, of course. They had to be very feminine. And it's like, this is all just another step of controlling women. And but unfortunately, their women are, not all of them, but the majority of them are fine with it. So if you're trying to go out there and scare women and saying they want to control you, there is okay, maybe not the majority, but there is a portion of these women that are fine with that.
The majority of white women voted for Trump.
Yeah, 57%. 57% in 2020.
In 2020. The more than voted for him in 2016.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I know somebody who didn't vote at all in 2016, but voted for Trump in 2020. That makes sense.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you had 4 years to see how he would be.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a pandemic.
And you said, sign me up for another term.
But it's not, they're not voting, they're voting for what he represents.
That's right.
And what he represents is a return to this kind of, you know, what they see as their place in the world as a white, you know, Christians, men.
His inaugural address was all about American carnage, okay? And he gave us exactly what he promised. And one of the prominent people in that video, and again, I'm going to post it on all our TruBlu Politics social media so that people can share it, because it absolutely, people have to be aware of the fact that a lot of those people are right on board with Donald Trump. And
some of them are,
and Nick Fuentes. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Fuentes, wasn't he at Mar-a-Lago? Marjorie Taylor Greene went and spoke at a white Christian.
Well, he's hanging out with Laura Loomer.
Right.
Who's a total nutcase.
But, you know, I'm talking in the men in this video. They are.
Yeah, but she thinks like that.
She sure does. But these people are very much aligned, you know, very much aligned with Donald Trump. And they know that Donald Trump will do what they want him to do.
Yeah, because he's a Trojan horse.
I know women who vote Republican, white suburban women who are, God love you, but
I do too. I know some.
Who vote Republican, who call themselves religious, call themselves that, you know, the woman needs to serve her husband, but they are strong women. They're very opinionated, and they have their, you know, otherwise beliefs, and they're fun. I love them. But I just don't understand. And it's like that. So he said in the beginning, the Handmaid's Tale is what they want. But I think something we need to think about is there was the point where Serena, who was, when they showed Gilead, how she was out there.
She was an author.
Yes.
She was on speaking tours.
When she came in and she read from the Bible and they cut off her finger.
Yeah.
Let that be a lesson.
Well, she taught a child to read or something like that. A girl. Wasn't she asking to teach it? Oh, no, that's right. She read from the Bible. That's why they cut her finger. But she was trying to.
So you think you want this world.
Right.
But you don't. Trust me on that one.
Yeah. But I don't think they believe that'll ever happen. These people are so privileged Americans, really.
Right.
They don't think that's going to happen.
Well, and conservative women, Republican voting women, didn't think that Roe was really going to be overturned.
No.
You know, a lot of them were just voting, you know, for the fiscal responsibility and, you know.
Well, they say that, but they're not
right.
Which is not spending money on black and brown people.
Yes, that is a bullshit lie.
Right.
Yeah.
While claiming to be devout Christians. You know, but no, we cannot let the refugee in, and we cannot feed the hungry children, and we cannot clothe the hungry children. You know, they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
Yeah.
I had somebody say to me, a working class blue collar guy say to me, and that's what I was raised in. I was raised in working collar, you know, when Western Virginians were Democrats because they represent, you know, working class families. Say to me, I do not want my hard-earned tax dollars going to lazy N-words who live at 95th and the Dan Ryan. And for those of you not in the Chicago area, that is a heavily black and brown population over there.
Underserved.
Very underserved.
I heard the same thing from somebody from West Virginia. That's funny that you said that.
I could not believe that, first of all, that you're going to say the N-word out in public to somebody else.
Yeah.
But I guess you thought that I was a safe base for you to say that word. No.
No, you're white, so they figured you were safe, I suppose.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
And you know, and then there are those people who don't necessarily come right out with the N-word, but they say, why should somebody else get a full ride through college when I have had to work and save the money that I earned in order to put my child through school? And it's like, I know what you're saying. What you're saying is exactly what the person that you were referring to, Kevin, and the person you were referring to, Anita, that's the same goddamn thing. They're just not coming out and saying the N-word. And for me,
I don't know about that because there's a lot of
they go, listen, I'm going to tell you, I know this person, and I guarantee you that if they could, they probably would. Like in a high pressure situation, they probably would come out with it. But they're very polite. That is that polite, that nice racism, right? Where we're gonna show, you know, like, oh, I go to church and oh, you know, I'm gonna donate to the food pantry or I'm gonna do whatever, but fuck you if you think that you're gonna send your kid to a school that I'm paying a lot of money to get my kid through. And it's just like not even taking into consideration that you had so many doors open. That's not to say that this person didn't work hard. The person I'm referring to is a white woman. And she got very far in her, you know, career, got to top management position. And so, yes, I'm not going to take that away from her. She worked very hard. But a lot of the opportunities that allowed her to walk through that door in the first place are never afforded to the parents of the people that she's referring to, who she thinks are getting a free ride.
I like that you referred to the polite racism, like a light, dainty racism, like a brioche with a whipped butter spread.
Yes.
But somebody posted on Facebook, a friend of mine who's just put his 3 daughters through college. He saved up for their college fund, and you know, we're doing the same for our kids, college fund, to, you know, try and, you know, help the next generation, because that's what you do. But again, not everybody has that. That doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, well, why do I have to pay for my kids' college and then somebody else gets a free ride? Why are you even taking that? If somebody else is educated, why is that something bad? That's why we have public education. So we can have, and there are plenty of, you know, childless cat ladies who live in public school districts who will pay their tax dollars to their school to educate, because we want to educate our community, because we don't want a bunch of stupid fucking idiots.
Some people want a bunch of stupid fucking idiots, so they keep voting Republican.
Yeah.
Oh, well, right. And if you think about it, I mean, a well-educated society a population is what we need to have a healthy democracy. And if we do that, that lends itself to national security, because now you have a strong country with a lot of well-educated people, high-skilled workers, you know, and that is what we want. But these people in the Republican Party and the idiots that keep voting for them, that are not having their best interests met, right? These people they just do not understand that what makes this country so great and strong is the fact that we educate our population.
Well, they don't want to educate the population because it works against them.
Right.
So yeah, and you know,
they're willing to forfeit the strength of our country and our democracy in order.
They don't care about that. They hate democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want democracy. Democracy is not working for them anymore.
Right.
Because the population is not all 85% white like it was under Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, they hate choice.
Yeah,
which means they hate freedom.
Oh, they hate freedom. Oh my God, they hate freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody listening, make sure that, you know, you choose the party of freedom and American patriotism and democracy, and vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
And in the meantime, we are going to make sure that we do everything in our power. I did mention on Stephanie, you know, there's this line about, you know, don't get happy, but I would say that we should not take anything for granted, but our happiness and joy, I think, are needed, because it gives way to determination and hope. And
it shouldn't be don't get happy. It should be don't get complacent. Yeah, don't get complacent.
And and we cannot take it for granted. So having said
but
that,
if I see one fucking balloon, nope. You can get happy. You can
Yeah.
get happy.
Okay, but no balloons.
I don't
I'm not
know.
thrilled.
Oh, come on. We can use
No balloons.
balloons.
No
There were
balloons.
lots of balloons at the
Listen,
DNC.
there, I was just gonna say, but okay, so as we're getting to the end of our conversation, oh my gosh, it's been such a wonderful experience to have you with us. And so, Kevin, what are things that you are doing between now and then to either get involved with, phone banking, things like that, but then on the other hand, the conversations that you're having with people, like, are you having conversations?
So I've given up trying to have conversations with my Appalachian Red Hat family. So I've got two sisters that are suburban white women, and I'm constantly polling them. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because I have to understand the way of thinking. I have a brother who's, very MAGA Trump. So I try to have conversations with him. But I get to a point where I'm like, I can't talk about this anymore. Like I will have to just love the fact that, my one sister lives in a blue state and her electoral college votes are going to go to Kamala anyways. My other siblings are neighbors of you, Anita. They're in Texas.
We're in Texas.
One is in the
Dallas.
area.
That's right. I remember you visited. Yeah.
Yeah, I visited Dallas, which was fun. But so trying to have conversations. I do have friends in Arizona. I visited with them, and I was there when there were people we just went to like a Target, and there were people in the parking lot trying to get signatures to get abortion rights on the ballot. So I'm very happy that it made it to the ballot. And when they asked me, it was like, oh, would you like to sign? I'm like, I live in Chicago, but I'm so thankful for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Because
So what kind of vibes did you get? Like from the people that you know in Arizona and Texas?
Yeah, I visited Tucson, which is very liberal area. And I think Arizona is going to go blue because the fact that, they have Katie Hobbs, they have Ruben Gallegos running for senator. I think he's going to be elected because I think having the abortion question on the ballot is going to get people out. And so, just talking to my friends, I met a lot of people that they are friends with. And I'm not one of those who shies away from political conversations with people because I think we have people that are like, we know the phrase, oh, I don't do politics. Yeah, well, politics is
right.
We say that all the time. But I will have that conversation with people. Like if you are not at the table, you're on the menu. That's right. And that really resonates with people.
On my street, I was telling Karen, there's 5 Harris, and I don't live on a long street, Harris wall signs. I haven't seen any Trump signs.
Good.
So do you see that where you're at? What do you see?
Well, I'm in Chicago, so
you're in Chicago. Now, yeah, I mean.
Oh, you're both in Chicago, so I guess it doesn't count.
Yeah.
So Orland Park. So there are some conservatives.
Orland Park is our mayor is
Burr Ridge
is a red hat, but yeah, I'm one of those. I say I'm from Chicago to people who don't know the Chicago area, but we go to Disney World all the time. And when people say, "Where are you from?" I'm from Chicago. It's like, oh, so am I. And then you get into the the tighter what area. But anyway, so Orland Park is very red, and I'm trying to. Our mayor elections are next year. So
have you seen any Harris wall signs there?
I have. Unfortunately, I also see the pickup trucks driving around with the Trump flags, which I'll never understand.
Let's Go Brandon. What are they going to do with the Let's Go Brandon?
I haven't seen as many of those.
Blowout clearance. Spirit Halloween.
I don't know. It's so sad. They spent thousands and thousands of dollars on Let's Go Brandon.
Good. They spent thousands and thousands of dollars on that, and they spend hundreds of dollars on the golden shoes that Trump was trying to rock. And it's like,
and
if you're out there buying all that shit. You have no fucking business complaining about this economy.
But the economy,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true. I mean, these people that go to these rallies, they travel around the country to go to these rallies, and they buy all the swag. I was listening to.
And then they complain about gas prices.
I know, exactly.
I'm driving cross country to the fucking rallies.
Yeah, or they watch this Republican representation waste time and tax dollars on nonsensical investigations, impeachments, and hearings about Hunter Biden.
It's such a waste of money.
Yeah,
that's why we know they're not fiscal. They don't really believe in fiscal responsibility.
No.
Yeah, they'll never put those pieces together, though.
No, they won't.
They will never look. They'll look at, oh yeah, you're going after the people I don't like.
Right.
They'll never say,
yeah,
one, it's a nothing burger, and two, how much money is it costing us?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump got a $11 million bribe or something like that from Egypt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and where is the attorney general on that? Exactly. And now he's doing a crypto scam. Did y'all hear about that? That he's going to be talking about later this month?
Oh.
I forget what he calls it, something of Liberty crypto. It's just so ridiculous. It's of course going to be a ripoff. His stupid Trump media thing is tanking again. Well, this time it's really tanking. And after the debate, it tanked like 15%. I mean, it's down to, I think it's under $15 now. And it started off at what, $80? He is just a terrible businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, by this month, he'll be able to withdraw his investment in Trump media. But if he does that, he's going to leave all his little, sycophants that bought into that high and dry.
What else is new? What else
I know that's what he does. Isn't that what he does?
That's what happens. You bet on Donald Trump and you're going to lose.
Yeah,
you're going to lose. And I mean,
all his businesses are a scam.
Well, sure. Look at Trump University. People
scam
lost on that.
Trump steaks, Trump wine, Trump Airlines, Trump
all the contractors that worked on any of his properties. And ended up, you cannot trust this man. And anybody that puts their money or whatever in trust in him, they're going to be very disappointed.
Well, he's never been successful at anything. The only thing he was successful at was playing somebody on a reality show, playing a successful businessman.
Yes.
Because they basically, I mean, they made it to so that he would look that way.
Mm-hmm.
And they manipulated the whole thing. Like he didn't have Trump Tower was really kind of shabby, and it didn't have any kind of big meeting room. Like the one that you see on The Apprentice.
Right.
And so they built all that.
Right. That was a set.
Yeah.
Noel Castler talks about that.
It's all fake. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And these are the conversations I used to have with my Red Hat family. You can list all of the, when they say, when you ask them, why do you like him so much? Oh, he's because he's a businessman, successful businessman. And then you can list all of the things that you guys just said that went bankrupt, all these stupid ideas
everything
went bankrupt. And then you can say, oh, because he's for the working man. And then you can list all the facts.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they don't care.
Not.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't.
And they don't care.
They will not
because
believe you, and they don't
it's
care.
what he represents.
Right.
Yes.
It's not about, it doesn't matter what, they don't care. They don't care that he's a criminal. They don't care that he's been convicted for fraud. Or that he's found liable for rape.
But it's because he is a cult. He is their cult leader.
Yep.
So to the earlier point then, when you're having your conversations, and so it's like at this point, it's like MAGA, the people that are drinking the Kool-Aid and are in the cult, bye, right? Can't waste our time, our energy, or whatever. We have less than 2 months? No, less than 2 months now, to make sure
50
that,
days or something like that, right?
Yeah,
50.
Right.
What's today? The 13th?
Today's the 13th. So it is having conversations with people who are gettable.
And check your voter registration. Check your vote.org. Yeah.
Yep. Vote.org. And so in your conversations, the conversations that you are able to have with people that are reachable, do you have anybody like in your community, like any of the moms or dads in your community that you're able to talk to, or is it?
Oh, no, I don't like people.
What about it? Your kids go to school. Do you ever talk to the parents there?
Yeah. So I do talk to my kids' parents. A lot of our teachers also live in the district, so that's nice. I will talk to them about like how I can support them as a supporting teachers. I'm all for. I mean, shit. When the pandemic started, I was like, okay, teachers and school administrators, bus drivers, y'all don't get paid enough. When I had to become a teacher for my kids.
Oh,
my God.
yeah. You learned real quick. Yeah.
And I asked them how I can support them as a parent in the district. I talked to other kids' parents, and just I try to talk to them. And I think my background of coming from a religious conservative family, I can like I can understand them. And I can sympathize with them and say, okay, and then I don't go at them like on the attack.
Right.
But I'll just try if they bring something up that I could totally tell was a Fox News talking point, then I can combat that with real facts and say, well, and then I can usually tell if they're susceptible to truth or if they're just
they're not
lost.
Yeah. Right. I've had those conversations and you just kind of have to feel them out.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of the reason why my area is so red is because those are the only people that vote. Republicans vote. People, rural, small town places vote. And Orland Park's not rural, but like that's why so many state representatives are Republican because the rural communities vote.
Right.
Everybody
and they vote
out and vote. I wish so bad that, and it would require a constitutional amendment, but I wish we had compulsory voting.
Oh, I think so too. We should have that.
Vote,
a day off, a holiday.
Yes, we would have a more representative government.
Right.
Who actually represented the people, and it would reflect that.
Yes, and it would encourage being educated and informed voters as well. And so on that note, we're at the end here. So
before we end,
yes.
can I do a little self-promotion?
Yes.
Of course.
So you asked what I'm doing for democracy. And what I'm doing for liberal arts is I'm currently directing what I do theater. So I'm directing a show in the Chicagoland area. So if you're listening in your Chicagoland area, go to wheatondrama.org. I'm directing Ken Ludwig's Moon Over Buffalo, which premiered on Broadway like 1995, I think, starring the one and only Carol Burnett, among others. It's a very funny show.
I don't know her. Who is it?
I don't know.
She was born in San Antonio. That's all I know.
That's all you know. San Antonio fame. We open. We're recording this on Friday the 13th.
Yes.
But we open on Friday the 20th, a week from today. We run for 3 weekends: Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Evening performances at 7:30 and Sunday matinees at 2.
Are you're directing it or are you in it?
I'm directing it. Oh no, I should get back on stage. I miss it, but I've been directing for the past few years. But very funny show. Come out and see.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you.
Steph heads assemble.
Yes, go see Kevin
Say
from
hi
Chicago.
To me. I'll be at each performance, so come and say hi to me.
Well, yes, we'll have to get a group together, Kevin, and we will absolutely come and support you. And then perhaps, we can get together afterwards.
Yeah, it's right in the theater is right in downtown Wheaton, and so there are restaurants.
Oh yeah.
All over. They shut down the street that the theater is on, and they've got tents for the summer for outdoor dining. It's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
There. I'm gonna arrange that. So we will absolutely do that. So again, you are a celebrity to all of us. And so
everybody loves you.
Everybody loves Kevin.
I love everybody.
Yes.
Most people. I said I don't like people, but I do.
We heard it. It's on the record. Okay. But so thank you again. And of course, we want you to come back anytime.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll have Bloody Marys.
Always.
So anyway, so what we can do, okay, have conversations. There are a lot of kids that are coming of age. Ask them if they are registered to vote. They can go to vote.org easily get registered, check their registration. And
can I say something real quick before we end? One of the and I've talked about this. There's studies that show that one of the reasons why people are not voting is because they don't feel like they know. They don't feel capable of. They think they don't know enough to be able to make that decision. And so it's not that they're they just don't want to vote,
right,
or whatever. They're lazy or whatever. It's because they're afraid.
Yes.
So if you can try to, if there's somebody, if you find somebody that's not voting, just try to find out why and try to help educate them. Karen was talking about how she did that with a friend of hers, daughter.
Exactly. Yep. So what I was going to say was, with these young people that are coming of age, this is an opportunity for us as experienced voters and people who pay attention to politics to mentor these young people. And so in the situation that Anita, you were just alluding to, which is kind of case in point, there's a young woman just turned 18. And one of the guys that I have coffee with every morning went up and after the DNC and said, "Are you registered to vote?" And she said, "Well, no." And he's like, "Karen, get on it." And so I said, "What do you mean you're not registered to vote?" She goes, "Well, I just turned 18. I said, "Well, great. So you can go to vote.org and you can register to vote." She goes, "Well, I have to do some research." And I said, "Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in a woman's right to choose?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Then I'm going to save you a whole lot of time in research. And I'm going to tell you, vote up and down the ballot for Democrats, because that's going to take care of everything. So you don't need to do that much research. And as far as local judges and other things like that, once you get registered to vote, you will get mailers. And there are places, and I can help you find those places.
Yeah, where they
If you go to vote.org, you can gather a lot of information. You can find out where you can vote, when you can vote, and you can check your registration to make sure you're still on the voter rolls. But these are the conversations. I think this is the opportunity that we have when we have young people who are just coming of age. And
a lot of them are, if you say something, are you, do you want LGBTQ rights, or do you climate change or whatever?
Yeah.
Those kind of big issues.
And they are absolutely gettable. So we all know what we need to do. We have our marching orders. And so we need to just keep doing what we're doing. And I think the three of us are perfect examples of people that, yes, we volunteer to help the campaigns. We send money in, we write postcards, we do all of that, but then also having real conversations with real people.
Especially because there are plenty of people out there who don't know shit and they still vote, and we know who they're voting for.
Well, those are Republicans.
Yeah. Every single time I see a TikTok of some like Trump rally and the comedians going to Trump rallies and them saying all this stupid shit, like that woman who didn't know that the Second Amendment was guns. I mean, like,
oh my God, the Fourth Amendment,
fucking credo. And it's like, she's gonna vote. She gets.
Oh yeah,
and
those people will vote.
Yeah, I believe everybody should be able to get to vote. But even like convicted felons and people in prison, I'm that excited.
Oh, I do too. But absolutely, yeah.
But I think it's so innocent of these people. Well, I don't know anything. Like my one sister, who she does not do politics. I'm surprised she voted in 2020, but she usually doesn't, because she's like, I'm not well informed. And it's like, I commend you that you think that you need to like be as in it as we are.
Yeah, but you know how many dumbasses are voting?
So many stupid people.
Right. Which and that's a great point too. So it's like, okay, they're voting. Okay,
yeah,
so
all those dumbasses are going to vote for sure.
You are getting all of your power over to those dumbasses.
That's that. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
That's
exactly.
Right. And on that note, thank you again so much.
Thank you, Kevin.
We'll do this again very soon. And to everybody out there, thank you so much for supporting us and listening. And we will see you in the next
Yes, thank you, everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Well, goodbye.